It was a hot summer day on July 8, 1987, when the people of Carlsbad, New Mexico were shaken to the core. The reason? The body of 38-year-old Donna Sue Hayat was discovered in her home on Elm Street. The crime was unimaginable, and there were signs that she had been assaulted as well as being stabbed and strangled prior to her demise. The whole community of Carlsbad was left in shock, wondering who could have committed such a heinous act against an innocent woman. How did the police crack the case after all these years? Today, we are looking at the 36-year-old cold case finally solved in 2023 of the murder of Donna Sue Hayat. But first, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, please hit the subscribe and like buttons. Now, without any further ado, let's dive into the mystery. Carlsbad, a city nestled in the southeastern region of New Mexico, is renowned for its breathtaking scenery of caves, limestone cliffs, and desert landscapes adorned with cacti. The Carlsbad Caverns National Park, with over 100 limestone caves displaying distinct formations, serves as a safe haven for nature enthusiasts worldwide, such as rock climbing and ATV tours, while also exploring the local history exhibits featured in several art galleries. However, the city's idyllic reputation was shattered when a heinous crime took place, leaving its residents in fear and disbelief. Donna Sue Hayat's birth on August 28, 1948 was a momentous occasion for her parents, who eagerly welcomed their new daughter into the world. Growing up, Donna shared a close bond with her sisters, Marlene Johnson and Sandra Daniel, and they spent countless hours playing together around the house. Donna's education began at the local schools in Carlsbad, where she excelled in her studies and developed a passion for learning. She went on to pursue higher education at New Mexico State University, where she continued to thrive academically and personally. Outside of her studies, Donna was an active member of both the First Baptist Church and the Christian Women's Club, dedicating her time to serving her community and living out her faith. Her kind and generous nature endeared her to those around her, and she quickly became a beloved member of both organizations. She shared a deep love with her husband, and their daughter Angela was the shining star of their lives. However, tragedy struck when Angela stumbled upon a gruesome sight in their bedroom. Her mother lay lifeless and partially clothed. The sheer horror of the scene was overwhelming for Angela, who had to witness the unthinkable happening to her beloved mother. Despite her bright future and the joy that she brought to those around her, Donna's life was tragically cut short, leaving her family and friends devastated by their loss. The pain of saying goodbye to someone so full of potential was a heartbreak that they would carry with them for the rest of their lives. The sun beat down on the quiet town of Carlsbad with its usual relentless heat. As the day wore on, Donna Sue Hayat went about her usual routine, carrying out household chores and attending to her daily responsibilities. However, as night crept in, a sense of foreboding began to settle in the air. Little did she know that tragedy lurked in the shadows, waiting to strike. At around 11:40 p.m., Donna's daughter Angela arrived home to find a harrowing scene. Her mother's lifeless body on the floor, surrounded by bruises and stab wounds. The shock and disbelief that engulfed Angela were almost too much to bear as she struggled to come to terms with the horrifying reality before her. After taking a moment to collect herself, Donna's daughter realized that she needed to take action. She knew that she had to alert authorities right away. Without hesitation, she dialed the emergency number and informed the dispatcher of the grim discovery. The police were dispatched to the scene immediately. The investigation was a mystery that baffled the entire Carlsbad community. The city was in shock when the news of the death of a young woman hit the headlines. The Carlsbad Police Department detectives were quick to respond to the crime scene as soon as they were notified. The detectives cautiously entered the home and began their investigation. The detectives were quick to take control of the scene. They combed through the scene of the crime, collecting valuable evidence, including foreign, hoping it would be useful later in the investigation. Upon investigation, detectives learned that Donna was last seen in the company of a tall Caucasian man who was seen leaving a nearby store on foot around 9:15 p.m. on the day of her untimely death. This crucial piece of information became the starting point of the detectives' investigation, and they worked tirelessly to identify the man and uncover any other leads that could help solve the case. As the investigation into Donna's tragic death continued, the Carlsbad Police Department detectives meticulously interviewed all involved parties, witnesses, and family members to piece together the sequence of events. But they were unable to turn up any solid leads to follow. And advanced technology at the time proved to be a major roadblock in bringing justice to the Hayat family. As a result, the case went cold, and justice seemed like a distant dream for the family of Donna Sue Hayat and the Carlsbad community as a whole. In 2023, Detective Joey Landgraf and Detective Tim Nice, both from the Carlsbad Police Department, the 36-year-old cold homicide case, and embarked on a mission to identify the perpetrator. With the help of new investigative techniques, they were able to unlock valuable leads and send the crime scene evidence collected all those years ago to Othram, where advanced DNA sequencing was conducted using forensic-grade genome sequencing to build a comprehensive DNA profile of the suspect. The FBI's forensic genetic genealogy team used this DNA profile to develop leads. And after reviewing both new and existing evidence, Landgraf and Nice pinpointed a man named Michael Ruff Wigley as the prime suspect in this case. But how could they confirm their suspicions? They looked further into his past to find if he was in Carlsbad around the time of the assault and murder. The detectives were able to match his description with that of the suspect provided by the witnesses earlier in the investigation, further solidifying Wigley as a prime suspect in the case. The detectives made a significant breakthrough by identifying Wigley as a person of interest. Through extensive research, the Carlsbad Police Department determined that Michael Ruff Wigley was indeed present in Carlsbad during the time of the assault and murder of Donna. This discovery led them down a path of further investigation, ultimately uncovering Wigley's past criminal record and his connection to this case. Upon delving deeper into Wigley's profile, detectives unearthed a shocking fact about Michael Ruff Wigley's past. He had been investigated for 2 separate incidents of sexual assault in Central Texas in the early 1980s, and he was ultimately convicted and sentenced to prison for one of those incidents. This revelation shed new light on the case and helped detectives understand the gravity of the situation they were dealing with. The investigation took an unexpected turn when they discovered that Michael Ruff Wigley had passed away in a traffic accident in 1989 after his release from prison. Undeterred, they obtained a search warrant for Wigley's exhumation and DNA collection, and with the support of Amarillo, Texas law enforcement, executed the search warrant with precision and care. The collected DNA samples were then subjected to the KINSNP testing by Othram, which definitively identified Wigley as the culprit behind Donna Sue Hayat's murder in July 1987. The detectives went above and beyond by not only relying on DNA evidence to solve the case, but also conducting interviews with witnesses and family members. Through their diligent work, they were able to further confirm Wigley's presence in Carlsbad at the time of the assault and murder, solidifying his guilt beyond a shadow of a doubt. The partnership between the Carlsbad Police Department's detectives and Othram Lab, a private lab based in Texas, marks a notable development in forensic science and crime scene investigation. By conducting DNA testing, the detectives were able to compare DNA samples collected from the crime scene to those obtained from the exhumed remains of Wigley, the suspect. While it may seem like a difficult feat to close such an old, unsolved case, the detectives' unwavering commitment and persistence allowed them to successfully bring justice to the Hayat family and the community. The process not only brought closure to the family but also served as a testament to the detectives' dedication to their work. The impact of this achievement also reverberated beyond the case, as it restored the community's trust in law enforcement and highlighted the value of cooperation and innovation in the fight against crime. The memories of that fateful night still lingered in the minds of the officers and detectives who had responded to the scene back in 1987. They had worked tirelessly to preserve the crime scene's integrity, collecting every potential piece of evidence that could aid in the investigation. It was their diligence and dedication that proved to be the difference maker, as their work enabled officers to bring closure to the case almost 4 decades later. Carlsbad Mayor Dale Janway made sure to recognize the effort of these officers and detectives, acknowledging their hard work and commitment to the case. The city of Carlsbad also stepped up, providing financial assistance to ensure that the DNA in the case could be tested and analyzed. It is our sincere hope that the recent efforts and the efforts of those involved in 1987 can bring some small form of peace and closure to the family of Donna Sue Hayat and the community of Carlsbad, Janway said. When do you think justice was served in this case? At the time of Wigley's demise? Or after he was charged with the crime after his death so many years later? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section. With a loving husband and a 2-year-old boy, Yvonne Scruggs was living a happy and peaceful life in Travis Drive, Wisconsin. Everything seemed to be working out fine and the family was stronger than ever. However, the happiness they had was short-lived as Yvonne found her 29-year-old husband, Benny Scruggs, stabbed to death in the early morning hours of July 17, 1985. The police on investigating uncovered many secrets. However, they had no idea that it would take more than 35 years for the case to be solved. Who could have been the killer? Was it just another murder? Or was there something else going on? Today we will be unraveling the cold case of Benny Scruggs, who was stabbed to death in 1985. Before starting, we would like you to take a moment and hit the like and subscribe buttons. Also, press the bell icon to be the first to discover all new cold cases. Let us now take a stroll through this atrocious cold case. The city of Wisconsin Rapids serves as the county seat of Wisconsin's Wood County in the U.S. Life here is a harmonious blend of small-town charm and modern conveniences where neighbors greet each other with genuine smiles and lend a helping hand when needed. It is a tapestry of diverse communities where friendships flourish and traditions are cherished. Whether it's cheering on the local sports team, participating in community festivals, or simply enjoying the tranquility of the nearby natural wonders, living in Wisconsin Rapids offers a fulfilling and enriching experience. Moreover, given that there are 1.71 violent crimes per 1,000 residents in this area, it offers a safe environment. However, no city in this world is totally free from atrocities. When Benny Scruggs was savagely killed in Wisconsin Rapids, the city became a setting for one of the longest cold cases in the city's history. Benny Eugene Scruggs was born on August 18, 1956, in Pickens, South Carolina, in the United States. He was the third child in Garvin and Rudy Scruggs' family, and he grew up with his older sister Ansel, his older brother Wayne, and his little sister Kim. However, not much is known about his childhood. On May 15, 1982, Benny, at the age of 25, got married to Yvonne Koba in Easley, South Carolina. It was a successful marriage, and after a year into the marriage, in 1983, Yvonne gave birth to a baby boy and named him Matthew. It was July 16, 1985, and Benny and Yvonne went out to eat and have some drinks at Lance's Never Inn, a local restaurant. While they were gone, they requested their babysitter to watch after Matthew, their 2-year-old son. The babysitter looked after the youngster until they came home at 1 a.m. According to the babysitter, the couple returned home that night in exceptionally high spirits. Bidding goodbye to her, the couple headed to bed. What exactly transpired after that remained a mystery. However, all the scenarios end with the same climax, the death of Benny Scruggs. On July 17, 1985, at around 3 in the morning, the police received a call from a man named Brian Walker. He informed the police about Benny and requested their presence immediately. When the police asked for more information about the situation on their way, he stated that he was Benny's neighbor and had been summoned by Benny's wife, Yvonne. When he arrived, he noticed that Benny had been stabbed. Brian continued saying that Benny was hardly breathing and bleeding profusely. The officers urged him to continue applying pressure to the area in order to halt the bleeding. He responded that he was holding a knife because the murderer might still be there. The cops were aware of the situation and understood how anxious he would be, so they calmed him down first and urged him to put the knife aside and instead apply pressure to the wound. The man yelled out to Yvonne and instructed her to apply pressure to Benny's bleeding area. Over the phone, the officers also heard Yvonne mention that one of her butcher knives had gone missing. The Wisconsin police soon reached Benny's residence in Pioneer Village Mobile Home Park, 1310 29th Avenue South in Travis Drive. Benny was lying on the waterbed at his trailer home covered with blood with a towel over the wound. Then the ambulance arrived at the scene and it was declared by a coroner that Benny was no more. The police sent his body for an autopsy, and the cause of death was determined to be a single knife wound to the upper left side of the chest. The medical examiner, Dr. Robert Huntington III, stated that the murder weapon was a hell of a big knife. He told the investigators that the weapon was possibly a large butcher's knife. Benny was stabbed in his sleep, according to Huntington, since he had no defense wounds on his hands or arms. The knife had sliced through his left lung, between 2 vertebrae and into the last layer of flesh on his back. He also stated that if the knife had been even a 1/4 inch longer, there would have been a hole in the waterbed. When the detectives spoke with Ivan, they discovered that the knife that had gone missing from their kitchen suited the description of the murder weapon quite accurately. That led to an exhaustive search for the murder weapon. Police emptied a pond in search of the weapon near Pioneer Village, the mobile home park where Benny resided, but no knife was found. Volunteer divers from the Central Wisconsin Diving Academy also aided authorities in their hunt for the knife on July 22, 1985, but to no avail. Benny was buried in Reslawn Memorial Park, located in Wisconsin Rapids, Wood County, USA the following week. During the initial interview, Benny's wife, Yvonne, who was 21 at the time, indicated that she had heard her kid screaming from another room and had gone there to comfort him. She went on to say that she had fallen asleep in her son's room. She returned to the bedroom where Benny was sleeping when she woke up. Only then did she come to know that Benny had been stabbed while she was away. However, this was not the only statement she made. After the first interview, when her presence was requested for a follow-up interview, Yvonne stated something a bit different. She told detectives that Benny had gone to sleep after the babysitter departed, but she didn't. After some time, she heard her 2-year-old son wailing. Since she was already awake, she went to check on the toddler and spent 10 minutes in his room. On her way back to the bedroom where Benny was sleeping, she noticed something was wrong as she found an unusual shovel sitting against the fridge and the caravan door open. The Scruggs family did not own a shovel, so Yvonne quickly rushed to check on Benny. She saw her husband lying in a pool of blood. Witnessing the horrific sight, she summoned her neighbor Brian to assist her. After the second interview, the investigators overheard Yvonne telling her friends that "I was asleep next to him, he got stabbed, I don't know it." In the next recounting, Yvonne stated that Benny was on the opposite side of the bed from where he was discovered. Yvonne stated in her final interview of the evening that she and Benny had fallen asleep together, and she woke up to find him vomiting and their son coming into their room crying. Yvonne's statement kept changing throughout the interviews. All of these shifting comments made the detectives' job uselessly complex. They were forced to believe that Yvonne didn't want to help them crack the case. As a result, they began to focus on additional remarks made by a neighbor, Donald Meyer. Although few people knew anything that might have aided in the investigation, the authorities considered Donald Meyer's testimony to be crucial, and her 10-year-old son near Benny and Yvonne's residence. On or about August 10, 1985, Meyer, an important figure in this gripping tale, confided in one of the witnesses, revealing intriguing connections to the victim Benny Scruggs. Claiming to have known Benny for only a brief period, he said that their acquaintance arose from a car purchase and a motorcycle sale. Yet an intriguing twist emerged as Benny disclosed his prior connection to Benny's wife, Yvonne Scruggs, stretching back to their high school days. Interestingly, their paths crossed again. Meyer and Yvonne had been co-workers at the Woolco store 4 or 5 years ago. Meyer said that Yvonne believed he did not do right with her during the school time, but she was determined to have him back. Took a personal turn in no time, involving a romantic involvement. She used to provide Meyer with rides home, often pausing on a secluded dirt road for intimate encounters. He continued to mention that Yvonne had a bad temper and he wouldn't be surprised if she was the one behind Benny's murder. Prior to Benny's murder, Yvonne had allegedly been confiding in Meyer, venting her frustrations about her husband. The once fiery passion between Ivan and Benny had waned. She claimed to have lost the fizz, a phrase Meyer interpreted as her having lost her feelings for Benny. The tension escalated in the days leading up to Benny's tragic demise. 3 days before he was found dead, Benny approached Meyer and revealed Ivan's incessant mention of Meyer's name, fueling Benny's ire. Both men perceived it as an intentional attempt to make him jealous and provoke him. He stated that he had last seen Ivan in February 1985 and mentioned that the last time they met, Ivan had invited him over while Benny was out. They used their personal time pretty well and had fun in the living room. Yvonne reminded him that if he ever wanted to be with her, he already knew how to get rid of Benny. These remarks by Meyer fundamentally changed the course of the case. Yvonne was confronted by the police with Meyer's comments during an interview in August 1985. Yvonne verified Meyer's account, claiming she didn't inform the cops about her connection with Meyer because she didn't think it was relevant to the investigation. Also because she was embarrassed. However, she denied ever hinting at getting rid of Benny. Soon the suspicions started revolving around Yvonne and the detectives delved deep to uncover any information that would shed light on their concerns. On August 20, 1987, Detective Bruce Malarick and Detective Exner met with Cynthia A. Reese, who had been a high school acquaintance of. She mentioned that she and Ivan were in the Wood County Courthouse for a social service function in May 1985. When Benny and Ivan entered the room, Ivan approached Cynthia, lowered her face towards her ear, spewed crude remarks about Benny, and then revealed that he had discovered her lover. However, she said it wasn't a matter of great concern for her as she and Benny wouldn't be together for much longer. After this cryptic sentence, Yvonne went away and contacted Cynthia roughly 2 months after Benny's death. She inquired whether she had heard about Benny's murder, which Cynthia had. Yvonne shared that everyone thought she had killed Benny. When Cynthia asked her if she did, Yvonne did not reply. Another witness who knew the Scruggs reported that Yvonne told her that she knew who. When the witness questioned her about why she didn't report the incident to the police, she reaffirmed that she knew who was responsible but couldn't turn him in. That statement raised suspicions on Ivan, and the police started believing that she must have been involved in the crime somehow. All these eyebrow-raising comments from Ivan kept the investigators on edge. They continued for a few years. The case got cold after 1993 until new testimonies from Meyer in 2012 gave the case new life. While the case was winding down, Meyer piled on an extensive list of criminal charges, while Yvonne, on the other hand, got remarried to Kevin Newkirchen. In 2005, Meyer was charged with 2 counts of threatening a Wood County judge. In 2006, a jury found him guilty of the allegations. Meyer was charged with 10 counts of stalking after contacting jury members who had convicted him, and another jury convicted him on 6 counts. Years were passing by and the police were still without answers, but soon the case was about to take a turn. While Meyer was in Wood County Jail and the Wisconsin prison system awaiting trial on, he contacted the Wisconsin Rapids Police Department in 2012 and stated that he wanted to discuss Benny Scruggs' murder. Meyer admitted to authorities that he did not commit the crime but was crucial in solving the case. During the interview, Meyer informed the cops that Ivan was attempting to frame him for Benny's murder. He also indicated that he had gone to the Scruggs' house several times, and that his fingerprints would be discovered all over the place, making it simpler for her to execute her plan. He also drew an extensive drawing of the caravan and revealed previously undisclosed features about the residence, such as how the bedroom door would not lock and the back door was bolted shut. The suspicions about Ivan rose even more when a witness stepped forward in 2013. After reading about Benny's murder in a newspaper, in the interview, she said that her son dated Yvonne between 1989 and 1990 while she was still married to her new husband. She went on to add that when she questioned Yvonne about dating her son while married to someone else, Yvonne said that she loved both of them. The witness then warned her that she couldn't have it both ways, to which Yvonne responded that she had previously killed one spouse and could do it again if necessary. The son of the witness who dated Ivan was also present in the interview. He stated that he had inquired about the father of her child and what had happened to him during their courtship. Ivan said that he had died because she murdered him. She did, however, add that she was drunk and couldn't recall much of it. In 2013, the investigators interviewed some of Meyer's inmates. They mentioned that Meyer used to love mentioning his ongoing physical relationship with Yvonne when she was married to Benny. According to the inmates, Meyer also discussed the Benny Scruggs case with other convicts while imprisoned. According to one convict, Meyer waited outside in the caravan park and observed Benny, and on July 17, 1985,